So today we're going to have a look at some JavaScript, specifically p5 JavaScript, which is like an extra library kind of that works on top of JavaScript. And I'm in Code.js, I'm in the sandbox, and I'm just going to go and create a program here. So I'm going to, underneath the JavaScript, I'm going to click on p5.js. That's going to create this program for me, and when I do that, you'll see that it comes with this kind of code already in there, and I've got over here kind of an output section, and even down here, this is where the kind of the console would be down here. So first of all, let's just run this code and see what happens. So we've got this draw function here, and then we've got an ellipse being drawn. Now an ellipse is just a circle. All circles are ellipses, so the ellipse is a good way of drawing a circle. We've got another ellipse here, and then a third ellipse, and then we've got this arc here. Now, so the three ellipses I've got here, I'm guessing, are going to be this circle for the kind of outside of the face, and then it looks like these numbers are slightly different here. So these two numbers are both 30, 30. And this is 180, 180. So I'm thinking these two smaller circles are going to be 30, 30, and this bigger circle here is 180 and 100. Let's just play around with it and let's just see. So if I change this to 280, 280 and run it, yes, you can see that it makes my circle a lot bigger. So if I change this just to 80, 80, for example, there we are. That makes that big circle very, very small. So let's change that back to, I think it was 180. 180, and then run it, and there we are. So we've got these kind of functions here that are being called for like ellipse in this case, and we're passing in some arguments in. Now I don't necessarily know what that means at the moment, but we can tell that it's drawing these three circles, and then we've got an arc here. Again, it's a little bit unclear exactly what I'm doing with those things, but let's start putting this apart a little bit. Now these first two here are going to be x and y coordinates. So if you remember back to your maths lessons, you will hopefully remember x and y will work like this. We've got x going from left to right down here, which increases as it goes to the right, and then y going up and down here, again increasing as we go up. And we generally would start down here. This is our origin down here, kind of in the center. We can go into the negative for both, and then it goes up, goes along the corridor for x and up the stairs for y. So this coordinate here would be 4, 3, because it's 4 on the x and 3 on the y axis. Now, in computer graphics, it's slightly different. The origin, the start, 0, 0, is going to be in the top left. So although x is going to increase the same, it's going along the top here by increasing by 1. Y, when it goes down, is going to be increasing by 1. So that's a slightly different, but we're still going to be using x and y coordinates to help us out. So let's just play around with these two. If this is the x coordinate here, if I change this to 460, I'm hoping that it's going to move this where this beginning of this circle here is being drawn, this ellipse, move it to the right by 200. And it has done that. It has moved it to the right by 200. You might ask 200 what? It's actually 200 pixels. So let me take it back to the beginning. So this is the y-axis. So again, if I increase this by 200, it moves down. So this circle is moving down by 200. Okay. And again, let's just see what happens if I decrease these. Let me just decrease them. I'm going to decrease them both by 100. So it should go up by 100 and left by 100. Let's have a look. Yes, it did. It moved it kind of diagonally, as you can see, up there. So that's the x and y coordinates. So these first two for each of these shapes is going to be the x and y coordinates. And you can see we can change those values and manipulate them. Another thing that I just want to start by showing you is the color wheel, because JavaScript and specifically p5 is great for doing very visual things, designing things, being a bit of an artist. And with that, we need to think about colors. Now, colors, when we are using computer programs, generally have 256 as their range. So we'll start at 0 and go to 255. Why? Well, because 0 is often the first number in computer programming. So then if you start with 0 being the first number, 255 would actually be the 256th number. Because the 256 values fit into 1 byte of computer memory, which is 8 bits. So you can see here from this wheel we have red, green and blue as the three kind of like pillars, the three kind of corners here. And they're the main values that we can use to kind of get some colours. And then we've got here, underneath green, it says 0, 255, 0. When we are programming, we use red for the first value, then we have green, and then we have blue. So it's RGB. So you can see we've got our RGB colour wheel here. So if I wanted to change some of the colours here, so I could use this fill function here. So say I wanted to make the red circle really, really red. So I could change this to 255 because the first argument here is going to be the red value, so I want that to be, I don't want any green, so that's 0, and I don't want any blue. Now the syntax of JavaScript, you might have noticed we've got these semicolon at the end of the kind of command there. So I'm going to put that in, and hopefully now, what I'm hoping and what I'm predicting is going to happen is I'm going to get a red fill for this circle here. Let's have a look. Great, I did. Now it also did a red fill for everything else after that. It's not done the black lines, but it's filled everything else in. Let's just say then I wanted to make the next ellipse here. Let's make this a fill. Let's make this one green. So it's going to be 0 red, 255 green, and then 0 blue. Just remember to put my semicolon, run that. Okay, now it's filled everything down from here in green. That's because in JavaScript, like most of the programming languages, it takes it in the order. So it starts at the top, so this would be fill, and then it's going to fill. It's going to keep that fill until you change it, until you change the value. So if I said fill here, this time it's going to be blue. Okay, so I'm going to be 0, 0, 255, semicolon, run that. Okay, good. Now we've got a blue ellipse here, but this arc has also been filled in blue. Let's try a third thing. Let's try this. Let's try 0, 0, 0 and see what that does. Okay, so now this first one here, this was green, wasn't it? I'm just going to put this down, this comment down here. So this is red. We then had this circle being blue, and then this circle at the moment, this arc at the moment is black, because I filled it with nothing. No red, no green, no blue values. Let's have a look and see what happens if we changed all of these to 255, which is the maximum. What do you think is going to happen? So if 0 was black, all 255 is going to be white. That's really important to remember that. That's really good. There's a bit of a shortcut we can take here. We don't have to do 255, 255, 255. We can actually just pass in one of those and it will still work. And the same for black as well. We could just make that just that single digit there and it will still work. So hopefully you can see there we've got a very visual kind of like programming language that we're using here to create some kind of art and design things. We need to remember about the x and y coordinates, and remember the origin is different here to what we would use in maths normally. We also need to remember that we've got this color wheel, this red, green, blue color wheel that we're going to pass in as arguments using this fill here before we call the function for the drawing of the shape. So let's leave it like that for today, and then we can come back later and have a look at how we can draw some more things using P5 in JavaScript.